Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond Podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day. Jennifer is grateful for the opportunity to educate, empower, and inspire you with powerful conversations, insights, and new viewpoints. Here's your host, Jennifer J. Hammond.
As you know, I love finding amazing trailblazing women who are really setting the standard and helping inspire us. And so my next guest, I'm so excited, is Denice Duff. And she has an amazing story. If you don't know who Denice is, she has started with amazingly very successful as a movie star in LA, but also she's moved into owning her own business, and through the pandemic has just expanded and done so well. So Denice, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love when I can make someone so excited. Their voice just goes way up. I love that.
Well, I'm so excited because your story, it's inspirational in so many ways, but I want others who may not know you that well. Will you share a little bit about your story? Because you broke into television and movies and just into an industry that is a really tough industry for many people. And especially as a woman, you've done exceptionally well. So would you share your story?
Oh, my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to wake up to you every morning. So I was raised in Los Angeles, originally from New York. Mom moved to Los Angeles when I was 5. She actually wanted to get into the entertainment industry, but really didn't have the spine for it. Like 99% of the people. It's an area filled with rejection and no's. And so when I hit about 16 and got my license, I was able to start to go on my own auditions and get a taste of it, And my thing is, certainly at the time, not now. Now the playing field is wide open. Anyone can be in the entertainment industry because auditions are very done through Zoom, just like this. So the world has gotten much smaller. But back then, you really had to be in LA. And my thing was, if you live there, you need to take advantage of what that city has to offer because it's super expensive and smoggy and crowded. So you might as well take advantage of being an artist. So I didn't really know from no. I was raised by a wonderful Italian family who just praised me for pretty much everything I did, whether it was a good long pee in the toilet to, going out and sweating and stinking. They're like, oh, you smell of the earth, and I really because I've been interviewed lately on things like this, I look at, wow, what brought about confidence at a young age? And it's a combination of maybe you still get made fun of just as kids do, but why does it not stick to some as it does to others, And, my Italian family, they called me brutta, which means ugly. So even if somebody called me ugly, I wouldn't believe it because my family called me brutta, ugly, because they thought I was so pretty. And it was like a play on words.
Right.
So to me, life was passionate and funny, I took things a little less serious because I was raised with that. And so you need a thick skin in this business, and, you just audition, you find every way to work around when they say, don't call, you still make a phone call, but you find the right way to get heard. And, people a receptionist doesn't have time to hear from someone that's saying, hello, hey, hi, how's your day? They're like, can I help you?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? If someone's calling, right, you've got to get right. You've got to get into their mind. What do they want? Right.
Yeah.
And so I would write a little skit, for myself. And I would say, hi, my name is Denice Duff. I'm calling to speak with John. I was recommended by Bill Smith. and who I met on the set of blah, blah, blah. Would he have a moment to take my call? Like literally I would write it down because I would get tongue tied.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm 27 years old. I'm not 12, but I still had to write my script down. And I would just always have something of value to say. And I would always research. And this was even before Google. Now it's really easy to learn about someone before you call. And I would know just a little something. And even like if the receptionist answers and has like a tickle in her throat, you know, comment on that, right? Do you know what I mean? Like by that, right? Make them your friend if you can, you know, without wasting their time.
And you know, one of the things you're saying, I think that is so special is actually that you're looking at it from their viewpoint. And again, it's a different viewpoint, the receptionist who is answering the phone than even the person that you might be trying to get to, is understand what her day or his day is like answering that phone and with a bunch of people trying to call. And obviously you're the gatekeeper, but looking at from that viewpoint totally changes not only what you say. And then the other thing you said that I think is an amazing principle is drilling, practicing what you're going to say. Because again, I think all of us, it's not perfect. None of it's perfect. We have to drill it. And I think for a long time, I used to think that, you know, by having to practice it and drill it, that meant that I wasn't very good at something. And I realized it's the opposite. You know, if you look at sports, you think about how many people are extremely good at, like if it's basketball, shooting that hoop, how many times did they practice shooting that hoop before they went ahead and did it? So what you just said, those two things in general, but also being creative. That was the third thing you just said that I thought was so powerful. And I don't want anyone to miss what you just said. Is being creative of, like you said, back in the day, like I talk a lot of times about high school and I'm like, well, we didn't pick up a cell phone or post it on social media because neither existed when I was in high school.
Right.
So, and Google did not exist.
Right.
So, and as my father says all the time, Google is not research.
But it is.
It is, but he was a lawyer. So when he says that, he's talking about legal research particularly, but it is in the fact that you look at all the resources, like you just said, like being an artist, being creative in looking at, well, I met that person on the set, but now how am I going to get to them so that they'll actually have a conversation about my next opportunity to work with them, and thinking of, again, like you just said, from their viewpoint, why would they want to hire you for the next project? So please continue. I'm sorry. I just wanted to
I love that. And that's going to be that you're setting the tone, because I will go blah, 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 and you will pull back and underscore and highlight.
Thank you.
This is a great relationship.
This is perfect.
So yes, it's, you know, there's something called the ARC triangle. Can I mention that?
Yes, please talk about it.
The ARC triangle is one of it's a magic wand, and A stands for affinity, C stands for communication, R stands for reality. I use that for every single thing. Those three concepts create understanding. And it wasn't invented by Mr. Hubbard, but he researched and goes, what is it that makes people get along, and what is it that makes them not get along? And the underlying components were affinity, reality, and communication in all circumstances to a greater or lesser degree. So putting this together in a way that is very usable when you're nervous or you don't feel well allows you to use this as a tool without having to put too much thought into it. So for example, I would be on an audition and I'm not feeling good. You know, I've got the girly period situation and I just don't want to talk to someone. And they pair me up with someone who's going to be my kid. And they're like, okay, you and Colin, you're going to be going in together. Well, I just don't feel like talking. But because I know this ARC triangle tool, I know that if I start with communication to find some reality or some understanding that we have an agreement, we'll have affinity together. Right. And if I can make that triangle really big, just within a 1-minute communication cycle, my chances of booking that job will increase by tenfold.
Absolutely.
So I muster up and I go, hey, Colin, do you like skateboarding? No, I tried it once. I broke my knee. Okay. All right. So that I haven't gotten my reality yet. I got to try again. Do you like Disney movies? Oh yeah, I just saw them. Bing, 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 bing. I found the commonality. We found something in common. Literally at that point, the casting director could say, okay, Colin, Denice, go on in the room. And I can go in the room and I can talk about Moana or whatever his favorite Disney film was. And I will have this interaction as opposed to, I'm just not feeling it. Yeah. Hi, kid, whoever you are. The thing is, you're at a job opportunity. You want to make the most of it. So whatever tool you can pull to get you from point A to point B faster, I use. I use that same ARC triangle tool on a commercial set where I was cast as an extra. And I normally wouldn't do that, but the commercial agent said, they already cast everyone, but the director liked you, and would you be an extra? And I said, sure. You don't make the residuals or anything. You get one day, it's flat, and you kind of get put in a different group. Whatever, it's fine. I love being on a set, and I'm going to ARC triangle this thing. So instead of hanging out with the other extras who were under a tree in the heat, complaining about having to just have water and popcorn, I was over by the film set, the film camera. Now I'm also a photographer. I have a lot of affinity for cameras and lenses and lighting. And plus when you're doing something that makes you feel good and confident, you're just in a better mood. Right. I didn't want to be over where the complainers were, because then I would become a complainer, and that's not fun. Plus it gives you wrinkles. It's another story.
Exactly.
So, right.
Nobody wants wrinkles.
Right.
Nobody wants to look older than they are.
No, not when you can do something like move away from a bad area, if it's that easy.
Exactly.
So I'm talking to the cameraman and talking lenses, and all of a sudden a couple guys walk over in nice suits, and one of them compliments this necklace I had on. He said, oh, I like your necklace. Now I could have gotten a little nervous knowing that I shouldn't have been standing there and these men are in suits and I should have been over there. But I just said, oh, thank you. They're painted beans from Argentina. And he went, Argentina? And I said, yeah. He said, I'm from Argentina. Yay! I got the ARC triangle lottery right there. And he said, are you Argentinian? I said, no, but I'm of Italian descent. He goes, Italian? You're so skinny. I said, well, my dad was a tall German, but my mom is Italian. My heart and my face are Italian. We start talking, right? We've got something in common. We're talking. The affinity's huge, big triangle. All of a sudden, he looks at the other guy in the suit, who was the producer. He said, hey, walkie-talkie into makeup. See when Eva LaRue is ready. Eva LaRue was being the main character. They come back 15 minutes. They said, Denice, go sit over there on the soccer bench. It was a big soccer field.
Yeah.
He said, this is Jose. He's the actor. He's going to come over, sit down, grab the cooler of water and throw it over his head and shake his head, and you just react. I said, yes, sir. Okay. I went and did it. And that wound up being my Screen Actors Guild card and $15,000.
Well done.
So, there is something to leaning into communication. He complimented this necklace. I could have just said thank you, but there was a story to this necklace, and he complimented it. And it was these painted beans, and I thought, I'm going to give him more, more art, more story, more connection.
And I want to go ahead and like you said, I want to go ahead and highlight a few things. Number one, when you were talking about being with the other extras, and first of all, I think you used a principle that is so powerful and so often overlooked, and that's observing the obvious of what's around you. What is the setting that you're in right this minute? Yeah. And at that moment you looked, oh, everybody's standing here. However, it does appear that I have an opportunity where I could walk somewhere. Maybe all the extras are not supposed to be there, but I have an opportunity. So recognizing that you can change your circumstance, because so often people feel like they're just stuck in wherever they are and they can't change. And so I think that's also one of the principles that you just shared that is so powerful. And being able to change your circumstances, walk over to a new place. But then also when you're talking about that ARC triangle, one of the first things you talked about was communication. And there's a lot of nonverbal communication, just even looking at, the person you're talking about, looking at it and making sure that you didn't keep your eyes down, that you were actually thinking, what can I do to open up a communication line that is now verbal? And then again, he had the opportunity to look at your necklace and admire it. And of course, now we have, a reality that you guys are sharing. Plus, you're communicating. So getting this whole affinity in there that, because of course he also has an affinity, a happiness, however you want to define that. So well done. I have to do a big
Thank you. I actually will do these little classes sometimes with actors, and I make them drill that, in the class. I make them pair up with strangers, and I say, just keep talking until you find something you have in common. Don't go off on a whole thing about yourself because you don't connect closer. Just keep being interested, keep being interested in the person in front of you.
Absolutely. And so let's go ahead and let's shift gears, because you had this amazing, successful career with television, with movies, with TV commercials, all this. And then you decided to go out into what I would say for all of us that are entrepreneurs, onto that limb of starting your own business and being an entrepreneur with a skincare whole line. And it's a very successful organic line. So will you share a little bit about, number one, why did you do it? And two, some of the principles that you applied to make that business so successful, even in this pandemic. And you are you are succeeding. Your statistics are just going straight up. Tell us about your success.
Weird. I'm like one of those people, that I would look at and go, I wonder if I'll ever be one of those people. So, we had moved from Los Angeles to New York several years, but about 4 years ago. And we wanted to just change our environment. We felt like, okay, you can play a game long enough, and sometimes the environment change will make you get out of your comfort zone. And I wanted to get into new things along with, I'd been doing a lot of photography and acting. And once I got to New York, I'd always been toying with this idea of selling some sort of skincare, because it's just something that's very near and dear to me. Yeah. My 5 generations of Italian women in my family have always, it's just been a very important part of our family to take like the avocado and not waste it and use the rind for your skin, to take a banana peel and rub it on your elbows to soften it and make use of everything. They weren't very wealthy on the cash side, but in brilliant ideas and of making the most of every facility, they were extremely wealthy. And so I would share little things with personal friends, but I thought, wow, could I actually go bigger with this? Because you hear it all the time, and what would make me any different? I always think, well, they come from rich families, or they don't have anything else going on in their lives. Like, I kind of went through every excuse, and I was able to find someone who beat the odds of all of that. I'm like, oh, well, they weren't wealthy and they're doing a million other things. And I was like, okay, what excuse am I going to need now? Am I going to need to get like in a horrible car accident and lose all of my limbs? And then I can start, like, I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes I think like, what kind of stops or perfect situation, right? Like, I got so crazy sometimes where I thought like, well, I need to have more stops on me to do well. And then there was another side of me that thought, I have too many stops on me, I can't do it. Right. So what happens? Nothing. Yeah. And to be honest, I fortunately was surrounded by people who didn't have those ideas. And it almost makes me a little teary-eyed of how important a beautiful group of people are.
Yes.
How important, because even if they, like, for example, they may not think they look beautiful in pictures. And for me as a photographer, I can take stunning pictures of them, And they may not think I'd be a great entrepreneur selling an object, a cream, but they think I'd be brilliant at it. So I really think it's so important to have in your team, in your tribe, people who resonate with you and really have your back.
So can I pause you just for a second? This is where I definitely love being able to highlight some of the things you just said that are so powerful. And it makes me have some tears in my eyes because one, I think so often we can create all these stops on our success, and we will all of a sudden create all of these ideas of why it's not possible. I'm not good enough. I'm not successful enough. There's always like a million, you can create this whole list. And that's such a powerful thing, is to go, oh, if I can create this list, guess what? That's still being creative. I could create a whole list of why it is possible. And then the other principle that you just said that I think is so powerful, and that again, we overlook because sometimes we might have a friend or a family member who is telling us again why we can't do it. And we need to be aware of when people are saying no, and actually look around and find and create that tribe of friends and colleagues that are actually not only going to support your dreams and your wild ideas and your ambitions to change the world and make it a better place, but also, like you just said, they're also going to help you succeed and find a way, again, create that list of all the ways that it can be possible for you, like for you to have this skin line, the skincare line that is amazing, that's all organic, that again goes back to your history of taking I love it. The banana peel and putting it on your elbow and utilizing what is around us, because so often, and that would be the third principle that you just said that I think is so powerful, again, so overlooked, is that we have things like a banana peel. We have things around. You're like, oh, I can't afford that. Or, oh, that's going to be too long. Again, we're just creating reasons why we can't, when in fact, we have answers all around us. And that goes back to what you had said earlier about observing, your own circumstance and your own surroundings, because ironically, you probably already have answers around you if you observe what you have, as simple as a banana peel. Yeah.
It's very true. It's very true. You're such a good highlighter of all wisdom. So I start off with the cream, and I had some names come into mind. This was a formula I had been using, and I had asked my chemist, can you make a larger amount of it, to go, like, I just was set on the fact that no, they can't do that. They just have this small little farm. And literally a friend of mine grabbed my phone and went, is this her number? And like had to take my phone and call the woman. And then I got all embarrassed and I grabbed the phone from her while it was ringing. So like literally it took that for me to start, someone dialing the phone for me. So, the point being there is you could still have that many negative voices in your head and still succeed. Just surround yourself with great people. And it's okay to be nervous. I'm nervous every day. I was nervous every day as an actress, but I love doing it.
Right.
And when someone says that, I was in acting classes with actors that were in their 40s, 50s, 60s when I was in my 20s and 30s. And they said that they were waiting for their day to come.
Oh,
waiting for their day to come.
Waiting.
Yeah. And that is, if I have a piece of advice for anyone young, don't wait for your day to come. I remember at one time driving down Sunset Boulevard, and it was like 1989, and the movie Pretty Woman had just come out, and Julia Roberts. And at the time, a lot of people thought we had looked alike. We have like the big smile, and I had like the big curly hair.
Yeah.
And I remembered I was waiting to get to approach an agent until I had gotten these 3 pieces of film from colleges I had done, like USC, UCLA, right? You do little demo tapes and to have to get it from them. And I didn't want to call the agents and I saw her billboard and I thought, would Julia Roberts have waited before walking in the door of an agency? And I literally called my acting class, my teacher, and I said, all right, give me a meeting with that agent, So there'll be these little moments where you just kind of push yourself and just know that you're always ready. You may mess up, but you can make it up. You can always make it up. And So now we're in this skincare, and I'm using all of this this entrepreneurial data and lifestyle from being an actor, because an actor is purely an entrepreneur. You don't eat until you book the next job.
Yes.
Your next job is not guaranteed until you hustle. You have to put money and promote the last job you did to get the next job you did. There is no one more entrepreneurial than an artist. And so that part of it came sort of naturally to me of like, oh yeah, I've got to be promoting this on my Facebook page, and I've got to be promoting it in my Instagram stories. And I'd been following Gary Vaynerchuk for years, and I knew that he always said people enjoy seeing the process.
Yep. They
enjoy the behind the scenes. And that's true. I mean, in anything, don't we all love to see, the dirty beginnings, So I was, when I would fly to my chemist and I was stuck in storms and coming back with different bottles of weird colored liquids, I shared them as Instagram stories. I wasn't private about anything that legally I didn't have to be private about. Because why? When the world is my family, I really consider everyone out there to be, all my clients are my sisters. I don't have any real biological sisters.
Yep.
So you're my sisters, and I wanted to be part of it. So when I was trying to come up with the name, and I wanted something Italian, like Mediterraneo or blah, blah, Sicilian something. And I had a meeting with this 28-year-old graphics Instagrammer, and like a agency promoter guy. And it was in Los Feliz at Intelligentsia Cafe, all very hip. And I told him those names. He's like, Denice, you're way hipper than that. He said, you're like such an in your face kind of girl. And I said, oh, what am I going to call it? In your face cream? And he literally turned his computer and he did this little logo. He wrote the all caps, in your face cream. And I called my husband, who was in New York, and I said, honey, is the URL inyourfacecream.com taken? And he paused and he said, nope, I just bought it for $10. That's how it started, And then we worked on the packaging. I was I worked forever to get a cap that was hard and round. I wanted, there were just things that I wanted, little lids. I wanted it clear so that you could see the lusciousness. I'm very transparent, if you haven't figured out. And then we put it in this little muslin bag. And I thought, I'm just going to do this the way I would do it for my friends as a gift to a birthday party.
Right.
And put a little stick, and I'm going to put little quotes and phrases on every box, because there was empty space. What am I going to put on the empty space? I'm going to put quotes on it. So I put little quotes, and we released it on the day after Thanksgiving. Nice. I remember sitting at my mother's house having dinner, and my husband sent me the graphics, and I made my little post on Instagram. And in a couple of weeks, I sold out of hundreds of jars just on my personal Facebook page with no advertising.
Beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. And that's a testament to
it is. It's really using also your social media to gain friends and trust and likability and share your life. So when you have something you want to promote, you've got people there.
Exactly. And you're in this story, like you were talking about sharing your story as you're building it. One of the things that I think is so special that is about that is that's our connection. As you said, we're all family, we're all connected, but so often we end up, withdrawing and we individuate, and then we think, well, I'm not connected. And then when you're brave enough to share, as you just said, not being private about everything, just being, okay, so some days it's not all perfect and this is what it is. And sharing that part of your story, I think, is so incredibly beneficial. So thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Well, I know
Yes.
we're just about out of time. I want to make sure people know how to get some of your in your face amazing
Yes.
skin line. So share with your social media and also your website.
They're all very fun colors. I try and keep things in clear glass, except for where you shouldn't have it in clear glass.
Right. But I like it. Purple, orange, white. Yeah.
That's right. Plenty of green.
Green.
It's In Your Face Skincare. InYourFaceSkincare.com. Everywhere you go, In Your Face Skincare, Instagram, In Your Face Skincare, Facebook, and InYourFaceSkincare.com is our website.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm so excited to have you. As you know, I love to say yay, and I would love for you to lift your voice and say yay with me. Okay?
Okay. I've been a little raspy lately, so I hope I don't crack.
You'll be perfect. I'm sure of it. So 3, 2, 1. Yay!
Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. You may know me as the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And if you want more help in getting from where you are to where you want to be, I want to encourage you to listen to the Jennifer Hammond Show